So this is really exciting because we have 5 topics, and we're going to have a countdown timer, so 2 minutes, and we're just going to kind of go back and forth, talk a little bit about it. Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we won't. So I think this will be great. So we have 5 topics. The first one is the Supreme Court is back in session as of Monday. They go through to June, and one of the big things on their docket is abortion. It's Dobbs v. Jackson's Women's Health Organization. Basically talks about in Mississippi, after 15 weeks, you can't get an abortion. In Texas, that law just passed, the 6-week rule. So, thoughts?
Well, fundamentally, this is a really hard one for me because I'm a Christian, I'm Catholic. For me, I am anti-abortion just for me in my own personal life. But Roe v. Wade is the law of the land, and it should stay that way because I believe that a woman's right to choose is her right. I don't think the government should be in the middle of that. I know that a lot of right-wing conservatives don't believe that, and that's fine. But in my world, I'm anti-abortion, but at the same time, I understand what the law of the land is. The law of the land is there to protect women's rights, and I think that they should not change it.
Right. The thing is, this is such a difficult topic because the same thing, I personally am a Christian. I personally would not be okay getting an abortion for myself. And, as a new mother, I had a baby, and at 6 weeks, when I heard that heartbeat, it was alive inside of me, and that's what's really hard to get your head around. I think as anyone who either hasn't had a child or has, obviously there's extenuating circumstances.
The counter to that would be though, you were in a position in your life where you're in love with your husband,
sure.
You wanted a baby, and you set out to do that. There are a lot of situations that don't match up directly
Absolutely.
to that.
And there are extenuating circumstances in all of these provisional bills as well. If there's going to be harm to the baby or the mother, etc. I know rape is in there as well. But I also, at the same time, in modern medical society, we consider something alive when we hear a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So at 6 weeks, is that alive or not? I know we have 10 seconds more to finish.
But I just think, again, I think it's a personal preference, and I don't think the Supreme Court should change the law of the land. Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. It should stay that way.
All right, well, we'll see what comes with that. All right, the next story, we are talking gun rights. So this is something else that's on the Supreme Court docket this year. So in New York, there's a new law that's limiting people who are applying to get their carry license for a handgun. We're not talking, big
now, this is just in New York, right?
This is just in New York, and this is
there
just
you go,
for
New York
handguns.
again, guys. I grew up in New York. New York again.
Yeah, just saying. And it's basically saying that if you're applying for a permit to carry, you have to show, quote, proper cause, which means you have to explain a specific threat to your life as to why you want to be able to carry a handgun out in public.
All right.
Timer starts now.
I don't agree with that one at all. I'm a Second Amendment guy, but I'm also a limited Second Amendment guy, and I got a feeling that you're not. So the bottom line is I don't think assault weapons should be on the street with the normal guy. I don't think that you should be driving around Dallas with an AK-47 in your car. See, I firmly believe that that's overcompensating for why you should protect yourself with a handgun, the Second Amendment. I also believe that background checks should be a lot harder and a lot firmer. We see what's happened now in Dallas, Texas, at the school with the shooting yesterday. Everybody has seen that. He's 18 years old. I don't think that he had the legal right to be able to own that firearm, and then he brings it to school.
Okay, but if you didn't have the legal right, then that kind of goes to the point of why would you take it away from someone who does have the legal right? And I know you're not saying take it away from someone, but I'm saying in this instance, and talking about this law, these handguns, if to show proper cause, to show that you have an imminent threat, to show that you have a specific threat, that's absurd because that takes away your right to bear arms. Like, that is what the Second Amendment is there for. And talking about an assault rifle or talking about an AR, which technically isn't actually an assault rifle.
She's not going to tell us whether she has an AK-47 in the trunk.
That's no one's business but my own, and if I get stopped and pulled over by police officers. But I have my license to carry, and
Right.
again, I'm not saying
And the AK-47 is a joke.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, I think that the right to bear arms was initially put in place so that the government can't take control of you as a person.
But we don't have that problem anymore.
Yes, we do.
So we're worried about the government coming into our house now?
I mean, possibly. They already shut down our businesses. They make us wear masks. I mean, look what happened in Australia.
That's
and now people are revolting.
that's a little aggressive.
I don't think it's aggressive at all because we've already seen what it's done to our country, and we're running out of time.
All right. Well, on the subject, though, there are two sides of this subject.
Yes.
My position is keep the Second Amendment in place. The New York law is wrong, but we don't also need kids that shouldn't have guns to have guns.
Well, we're actually going into the next story now, the Arlington shooting, which, of course, happened yesterday, like you said, in Arlington. An 18-year-old Timothy Simpkins, he's actually charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Right.
4 people were injured. People recovering in the hospital right now. So
Yeah. Well, we don't have enough problems in our schools with COVID. Now we got this one.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do we, in fact, now have to put metal detectors now into these bigger schools? Is that where this is going? I mean, where is this going?
Well, what's interesting to me is this. So this happened at Mansfield Independent School District, and down here in Texas we have ISDs. So it's a whole district in Mansfield. They already had 2 police officers that were on campus and responded fairly quickly to the
But they're
alert.
not frisking kids that are coming into school.
They're not frisking kids, and
And God forbid if we have to do that. But I'm trying to get to what's the solution, and we get back to the gun thing. He should not have had a gun.
Right.
So they got to get down to how'd you get the gun?
Yeah, I agree. I know ATF is investigating right now, but I completely agree. I mean, obviously kids should not be having guns and taking them to school. I mean, we all know that. I think that's up to the specific school district. I think if they're in a place where violence is happening frequently, violence is, bad stuff is happening like that, then obviously that's a decision they need to make.
Do the parents in these situations have culpability in your mind?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do.
Well,
I mean, if we have guns at home and everything is safely secured.
No, but more importantly, though, if you know your 18-year-old has a gun and he's not supposed to have a gun, are you culpable for that?
I think yes. Granted, he's 18, so technically he's an adult, but let's say 17.
But isn't there a 21-year-old law, or maybe I got that wrong?
To my knowledge, the 21-year-old law.
If there's not a 21-year-old law, there should be.
To me, I think, okay, so now we're getting into another subject. I think the age should be either 18, 21, 25, whatever the age is, it needs to be the same across the board. Because if you can go across the world and serve for your country when you're 18 and you can't buy a beer.
That wasn't the case. I'm old enough that 18 we were good.
Right. But
all right.
Well, all right. Moving on to the next subject is racial injustice. Actually, so at Harvard, a lawsuit was leveled against them regarding affirmative action policies. So a group of Asian students are claiming that they were denied admission into Harvard because Harvard wanted to keep a racial balance. So that was for their incoming class. This contradicts a 2003 Supreme Court ruling that said that affirmative action didn't violate the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. So basically, these students are saying that they're getting denied because they're Asian, and they need to keep. There were too many Asians for the incoming class.
All right. This one's a simple one for me. Mm-hmm. It's basically discrimination at any level is wrong. Mm-hmm. So we have to fight that. We cannot discriminate. In the day, if you were smart enough to get into Harvard, you went to Harvard for really one reason, because your classmates were going to be running companies 20 years later, and you had the network and the most beautiful Rolodex anyone's ever had. That was the main reason why people of my generation wanted to go to Harvard. You take a look now at these schools. I mean, they're really teaching the kids some things, and they're taking position on things. The whole university system, I could get into for a whole show. Why does it cost so much to go to college?
Right.
Okay? If you start adding the numbers, I can't get them to add up. And maybe that's a segment for next, couple shows. I can't get it to add up. You got 20,000 students. It costs $60,000 to go. Where the hell's the money going?
Well, they're being run like a business now. They're completely different.
A very profitable business.
Yes, a very profitable business. My question, kind of when you're talking about race, is when someone is applying to a school, and maybe this goes for jobs too, should there be a question on there that you have to put your race?
I'd like to say no, but I think it started because they wanted diversity.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think that's a good thing. But when you look at the campuses now, I see plenty of diversity. So the question then becomes, these Asian students, getting back to the subject matter, if they were discriminated against by Harvard, that's a big problem, and they should take that to task, and they should let the courts decide how that all went. Because discrimination, if you're going to discriminate against Asians, sooner or later it's going to cross over to everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. We agree on that one. There you go.
Okay.